Isaac Williams had found peace after years of turmoil and grief. The doubts and guilt that had once clouded his heart had long since dissipated. He had raised his sons, Jacob and Jordan, with love and unwavering dedication, and in return, they had grown into men he was deeply proud of. But as the twins moved into their 20s, each forging their own path, Isaac found himself facing a different kind of quiet, the kind that crept in during the evenings when the house was too still, too empty. It had been over 2 decades since Emma's passing, and while her memory still held a sacred place in his heart, Isaac had slowly begun to realize that life wasn't done with him yet. Perhaps there was room for new beginnings, for love to find him again. The spark of that new beginning came in the form of Samantha Walker, a woman who, like Isaac, had known the weight of loss. Samantha was a kind, gentle-hearted woman with dark brown skin, and she had been widowed 5 years earlier. Her husband, Marcus, had been taken from her too soon. Isaac Williams had found peace after years of turmoil and grief. The doubts and guilt that had once clouded his heart had long since dissipated. He had raised his sons, Jacob and Jordan, with love and unwavering dedication, and in return they had grown into men he was deeply proud of. But as the twins moved into their 20s, each forging their own path, Isaac found himself facing a different kind of quiet, the kind that crept in during the evenings when the house was too still, too empty. It had been over 2 decades since Emma's passing, and while her memory still held a sacred place in his heart, Isaac had slowly begun to realize that life wasn't done with him yet. Perhaps there was room for new beginnings, for love to find him again. The spark of that new beginning came in the form of Samantha Walker, a woman who, like Isaac, had known the weight of loss. Samantha was a kind, gentle-hearted woman with dark brown skin, and she had been widowed 5 years earlier. Her husband Marcus had been taken from her too soon. Much like Emma had been taken from Isaac. They had met by chance, or perhaps by fate, at a community event honoring local charities, both there to represent causes they had been passionately involved with. At first, their bond had been one of shared understanding, two people who had loved deeply and lost painfully. But over time, something more had blossomed between them. Samantha's laughter, once buried beneath layers of grief, returned in Isaac's presence. And Isaac, who had once believed that his heart was closed off forever, found himself looking forward to each moment they spent together. Jacob and Jordan, now grown men in their 20s, had sensed the shift in their father long before he had told them anything. Jordan, ever perceptive, had approached his father one evening after dinner. "Dad, you seem different lately," Jordan said, a knowing smile playing on his lips. "You've got this lightness about you." Isaac had chuckled, slightly embarrassed. "What are you talking about, son?" "You know exactly what I'm talking about," Jordan teased. "We see the way you look at Samantha. I mean, we don't mind, if that's what you're worried about." Isaac sighed, grateful for his son's understanding. "I didn't know if I was ready to tell you boys yet. I didn't want you to think I was forgetting your mother." Jacob, the more thoughtful of the twins, joined the conversation. "Dad will never forget Mom, but she would have wanted you to be happy. And Samantha's great. We like her. You deserve this." With his son's blessing, Isaac allowed himself to fully embrace his growing feelings for Samantha. It wasn't long before they became a couple, and the warmth of their relationship spread through their family like sunlight after a long storm. Jacob and Jordan welcomed Samantha into their lives with open arms, appreciating how she made their father smile again, how she filled the home with a sense of comfort and love. Jacob, now in his mid-20s, had taken a keen interest in researching their family history. He was studying marine biology at a prestigious university, but genealogy had become a hobby of his, perhaps an extension of his need to understand where he came from, given the years of doubt surrounding his and Jordan's difference in skin color. One day, while buried deep in historical records, Jacob came across something surprising. Emma's ancestors, whom he had always believed to be entirely of European descent, had traces of black lineage dating back nearly 2 centuries. His heart raced as he pieced together the fragments of history that had been obscured over generations. Emma's great-great-great-grandmother had been a woman of mixed heritage, born to a free black woman and a white plantation owner in the 1800s. This long-hidden part of their ancestry explained the genetic mystery that had followed Jacob and Jordan since birth. Jacob couldn't wait to share his discovery with his father and brother. That evening, he sat them both down, his laptop open in front of him. "Dad, Jordan, you're not going to believe what I found," he began, excitement evident in his voice. "What is it?" Isaac asked, intrigued by the energy in his son's voice. "Remember all those years we spent wondering why Jordan and I looked so different? Well, I found something in Mom's family tree." Jacob pulled up a scanned document. Turns out Mom had black ancestry. One of her ancestors was a free black woman who once lived in the Cayman Islands. "That's why we're different shades, Dad. It all makes sense now." Isaac stared at the screen, his eyes widening as the pieces fell into place. "Wow, good work." His voice trailed off as he processed the revelation. Jordan teased, nudging his father. "See, Dad? No need to have doubted for all those years. Mom was always true to you." Isaac smiled. "Yes, the paternity test cleared that up. I guess I spent too much time worrying about things that didn't matter. But it's good to know. I'm glad you found this, Jacob. Be sure to pass it along to your mother's family." While Jacob was uncovering their family's past, Jordan was busy designing the future. He had pursued his passion for architecture, enrolling in a prestigious university known for its innovative programs. Jordan was drawn to the idea of creating spaces that could uplift and inspire, just as his family had done for him. As a budding architect, Jordan had begun to dream of designing homes that blended modern elegance with the vibrant culture of the Caribbean. His projects will reflect the beauty of the islands, the rich textures, the colors of the sea and sky, the connection between nature and structure. Isaac couldn't have been prouder of both his sons. Jacob, with his love for the ocean and dedication to marine biology, and Jordan, with his vision for the future through architecture, were both becoming remarkable men in their own right. Isaac often sat in quiet reflection, marveling at how far they had all come. The doubts and heartache that had once consumed him seemed like distant memories now, replaced by the joy of watching his sons flourish. Samantha, too, had become a cherished part of their lives. Her warmth and compassion had melted away any lingering grief, and the family had become a close-knit unit, bound by love and shared experiences. One evening, the entire family gathered for dinner. Isaac, Samantha, Jacob, and Jordan. The aromatic smell of a Caribbean meal lingering in the air. The table was filled with laughter and stories, the air light with contentment. Isaac glanced around the table, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. His life had been marked by loss, but also by renewal. He had loved deeply, lost, and found love again. His sons were thriving, and his heart was full. As they finished their meal, Jacob looked at his father with a mischievous grin. "Dad, now that we've got our family history sorted, I think it's time we plan a trip back to where it all started." Isaac raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "A trip? Where to?" "To the Cayman Islands, where Mom's ancestor once lived," Jacob replied. "I found the records. There's a small village we could visit, see where our family's roots are." Jordan chimed in, nodding enthusiastically. "I'm in. It'd be great to see it firsthand. Plus, I could get some inspiration for my architecture projects." Isaac looked at his wife, Samantha. She smiled. "I'm always up for a vacation, dear, and we can look at combining the trip with a cruise." Isaac smiled as well. "I think that's a great idea. Let's do it." As the family began to plan their trip, Isaac reflected on how far they had all come. The boys were no longer the confused children who had faced teasing at school for their differences. They were confident, capable men who embraced both their individuality and their shared heritage. And as for Isaac, he had found love again, not just with Samantha, but with life itself. Samantha, who had once been unsure if she could ever find happiness after her husband's death, had found a second chance with Isaac. She loved his sons as her own, and they had embraced her with open hearts, including the brown-skinned baby boy. The Williams family was stronger than ever, connected by love, shaped by loss, and bound by the unbreakable ties of family. In the end, it wasn't the differences in their skin tones or the challenges they had faced that defined them. It was the love they shared, the resilience they had shown, and the understanding that family in all its forms was the greatest gift of all. Did you like the video? Tell us where are you watching from, and remember to subscribe for more upcoming videos.